obviously we've had some unbelievable games, Matt, that we've mentioned so far, but I think Declan alluded to it earlier as well. Three of those have been on GAAGO, Tipperary and Clare, Limerick and Clare, and the Cork and Tipperary game. There was rumblings about those games being on GAAGO, and I suppose Declan or Donald Cusack really brought those to light with an impassioned speech on the Sunday game, and everyone has an opinion on it. What's yours?
Yeah, well, Don Logue has form when it comes to that sort of stuff, and let's say there's very few pundits, Jack, that I admire more than Donald O'Cusick, and I congratulate him on his intervention on last Sunday evening. It's something that had to be said and was simmering under the surface all weekend and the previous weekend. And it was good that somebody had the courage in the circumstances to come out and say it. I'm opposed to it, Jack. Now, look, I get this GAAGO thing, and I get the resource it is to the diaspora and people abroad. I get all that. But, I find it very, very hard to reconcile that we as licence payers in this country cannot get free to air access to our national games in our national broadcaster. I find that desperate hard to comprehend, to understand, and to accept. And there is a school of thought out there, and it's totally correct that the big games, and we need only look at Tip and Clare, Clare and Limerick, Tip and Cork, put behind the paywall to promote the paywall. And now we see that the switch of the juicy All Ireland Senior Football Championship games, Galway and Tyrone, and Kerry and Mayo, they're being put behind the paywall. To make to get people in. But Jack, there's a whole myriad of people out there that pay for this thing and are getting no reception or very, very poor reception. I know somebody that has paid for a couple of them and hasn't seen a puck of a ball.
Yeah.
It's all very fine having this thing, but have we the infrastructure? Have we the broadband infrastructure in the country to take it? And the answer is a very definite no from what we're hearing. We're hearing loads and loads of stories of people paying their fee or paying their whatever it is and failing to access it. This is totally unacceptable. And like I saw Mr. Quinn coming out there on the news. Was it last night or the night before? What a vacuous argument. To defend the whole thing, saying, don't judge this thing in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Give it a couple of years. The horse will have bolted in a couple of years. We don't have a couple of years. We don't even have a week at this stage. Yeah, I think it needs to be reversed immediately, Jack.
Yeah, I suppose I agree with some aspects of it. I disagree with other aspects. The idea of using the Munster Hurling Championship and now these round one Sam Maguire games to promote it, I think is wrong in a way. But from a business point of view, I can see exactly why they're doing it. Would people have tuned into, if you would put the provincials behind the paywall, you'd say, would people have tuned into Kerry and Clare, knowing it's going to be lopsided? Probably not. The same with Galway and Sligo. It'll be the same with Dublin and Louth, you'd imagine. So, like that Armagh Derry will probably be the only provincial football game that will be tight, you'd imagine. So, in that regard, it's wrong from a moral point of view, but you can understand why they did it to an extent from a business point of view. For me as well, I grew up in an age where you had a phone very young. Well, I suppose I had a phone when I was 12 or 13. Now it's far younger. But, I'm well accustomed to using technology and, looking up games is grand for me. But even the Limerick Clare game, I probably went into town at 1 or 2 o'clock in the day just to get parked in town, and because I was walking out with a few of the lads and things, and we got food and stuff, and that was fine. But I know my own mother here isn't good with technology, and she couldn't watch the game. I tried helping her from the phone, ringing her, and she couldn't get it up. And I suppose that's the problem where it lies. That it's grand. They're used to flicking on the television, or even used to flicking on the Sky Arena program that had the GA. That's where, I suppose it's wrong in a way, and people, my own grandmother, God rest her, when she was alive, she'd watched every game. There would be no hope for her getting GAAGO. So
There you
I
go.
don't know. Yeah, maybe that is something that's worked on. I think I probably have more of a duty to my mother and grandparents in their life to be setting it up for them. But if anything went wrong and I was at the game, that's it. But for me, what's most glaring is the fact that it was a Saturday evening, and you had a Munster Championship hurling game, and it wasn't shown. Like, it should have been. There was, like, I know there was rugby on, whatever, that's fine, but the rugby can be on the RT player, or the GA could be on the RT player, channels that are readily accessible on the Fairview box. We had 4 hours of a coronation, and I mean, if that's what you're into, that's fine. But I mean, you could have watched that in BBC, Sky News had it. I don't understand why we had that. There's other days that there's random programs on when there could be GA. Now, I know it's not a sports channel, but sport draws in all the biggest viewers. You look at those end of year figures, it's sport, it's All Ireland finals, semi-finals, those provincial finals that are bringing in these numbers. That there should not be a Saturday evening if there is a championship game on. It is the pinnacle of Irish sports. I know it's not professional, but it is the pinnacle in terms of viewership. That should be the game that's on, and you can have the other games on different channels, or have RT1 and 2 on, and you can have a pick between rugby or GA. I don't like the argument of rugby against GA, or rugby against soccer, or GA against whatever. There should be facilities for all of them. I know it can't be on 24 hours of the day. There's Sky Sports for that, but there's definitely fundamental issues. It's good in a way that more games are being shown, but it needs to be more accessible. And I don't know what the solution is, Matt, but it'll have to be worked on during this championship, and definitely over the summer, to find a better product and more readily available to people, I suppose, in the countryside, and older people that don't know how to use these pieces of technology.
I agree with you, Jack, but I don't get this business aspect of it, because I cannot get that to sit comfortably with the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of volunteers around the country that work 52 weeks of the year for the GAA. It's a slap in the face to an awful lot of those people that they can't have free access to the big games of the association that they're making such a huge contribution to. Like, that there is an awful lot of people that I've spoken to in the last 2 or 3 weeks since this whole thing raised its ugly head, that are disaffected with the GA and this carry on. And time is not on the GA's side in finding a solution, not on RT's side in finding a solution. I think it has got to be found now, like we have the Taoiseach, the tarnished of our country, the leader of the Green Party. Like, the dogs on the street are up in arms against this thing.
Yeah,
there are a few proponents of the thing making this argument and that argument, and what about football and all this sort of thing. Like, there has to be space for them all, and vacuous arguments defending this thing.
Yeah, and there's things coming out the whole time as well. It's Wednesday morning now, we're recording. Even Tuesday night, Virgin Media came out. I'm seeing stuff just there on Twitter before we started recording. Everyone is having their say, and I suppose information is a good thing, and the more information we can get. But as you said, time is running out. We're going to have big games now that people won't be able to access. But what I will say is, for those listening that are able to work the GAAGO and have it bought, reach out to your family and friends, especially the older generation, and say, look, if you want to watch this game, just give me a bell, and I'll set it up for you. And hopefully then the people in the suits can do it on a higher level. But for those like myself,
Jack, that's embracing it. That's embracing something that's wrong. It's giving credence to something that's wrong. I disagree with you totally on that.
But they're not. It won't be changed anytime soon. I don't think they're just going to start. Like RT will have their schedule in place months out. So I don't think
people should vote with their feet, ignore it, and highlight the folly that it is. Absolute folly, this.
True. I think people are voting with their feet in terms of attendance. You know, you had 35 or 6 apparently at the Cork and Tip game. Talking to anyone that was there, said there was hardly a seat to be got, and you know the Cork and Take well over 50. You know, Limerick and Clare, they said 30,000. It was definitely closer to 40. I think if the children under 16 going in free, they mightn't be counted. So people are voting with their feet in that regard. But for those that can't, is what I'm saying. And I'm not saying they're not going to change it, so we'll have to change. I just think
there's only one way of getting an immediate change and stopping this thing, and that is ignoring it. People not buying it. That's people voting with their feet.
I know, but I would have hated to miss the game there
now. I for one are prepared to make the sacrifice. I'm not seeing the games rather than acquiesce to this folly.
Yeah. It's something that has to be rectified, and everyone will have their own opinion and different opinions, but definitely sooner rather than later we'll have to get something will have to be changed, and it'll have to be more accessible, I suppose, to everyone, not just older people in the country. I'd like there's people in cities that might have poor broadband as well. So hopefully that can be rectified soon.